Nice to see everybody. Hare Krishna. Welcome again to another exciting rendition of Bhagavatam Bites.
Hare Krishna.
So, we're here at Matchless Gifts, 26th Avenue, where it all began. The most powerful and beautiful and amazing space on the planet, kind of my opinion. It's, hard to believe I'm saying that because it's just a small little place cramped in between two big buildings on 2nd Avenue and Lower East Side of Manhattan. But
because it's small, but most portals are small. And when you go through a portal, it reveals a whole nother universe. And this portal reveals the spiritual world. If you have the eyes to see.
Yeah, she does it. I don't. Okay, so we're going to read from the Bhagavatam.
Canto 4, chapter 23, text 14.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 14. When Maharaj Prithu practiced a particular yogic sitting posture, he blocked the door of his anus with his ankles, pressed his right and left calves, and gradually raised his life air upward, passing it onto the circle of his navel, up to his heart and throat, and finally pushed it upward to the central position between his two eyebrows. Shoo. Purport. The sitting posture described herein is called Muktasana.
Muktasana.
Look how it's split in two.
Yeah, Muktasana. That's exactly what I just said.
Muktasana. They should have put it on one line. They split it out. In the yogic process...
It's always somebody else, isn't it?
In the yogic process, after following the strict regulative principles controlling sleeping, eating and mating, one is allowed to practice the different sitting postures. The ultimate aim of yoga is to enable one to give up this body according to his own free will. One who has attained the ultimate summit of yoga practice can live in the body as long as he likes, or as long as he is not completely perfect, leave the body to go anywhere within or outside the universe. Some yogis leave their bodies to go to the higher planetary systems and enjoy the material facilities therein. However, intelligent yogis do not wish to waste their time within this material world at all. They do not care for the material facilities in higher planetary systems, but are interested in going directly to the spiritual sky, back home, back to Godhead.
Haribol.
Yeah, interesting. I was reading that, how he raised his life here. I was thinking, this is too bothersome for me. I don't, it doesn't appeal at all. I'm just going to rely on Krishna, really. Take me, Krishna. I can't be doing all that, anyway, isn't it? You just rely on your spiritual, whatever little spiritual credits you got or other people give to you or whatever, and just hope you go back. Because it's true though, this is Bhakti Yoga, so we're not expected to do all that, are we?
No, we're not. You're correct. Shiradhe. Sounds like
confirmation
coming through the... Oh, there he goes. Okay, next paragraph. From the description in this verse, it appears that Maharaj Prithu had no desire to promote himself to the higher planetary systems. He wanted to return home immediately, back to Godhead. Although Maharaj Prithu stopped all practice of mystic yoga after realizing Krishna consciousness, he took advantage of his previous practice and immediately placed himself in the Brahmabhuta platform, in order to accelerate his return to Godhead. The aim of this particular system of asana, known as the sitting posture for liberation or muktasana, is to attain success in Kundalini chakra and gradually raise the life from the Muladhara chakra to the Swadhisthana chakra, then to the Manipura chakra, the Anahata chakra, and the Vishuddha chakra, and finally to the Agya chakra. When the yogi reaches the Agya chakra, between the two eyebrows, he is able to penetrate the Brahmarandra, or the hole in his skull, and go to any planet he desires up to the spiritual kingdom of Vaikuntha or Krishna Loka. The conclusion is that one has to come to the Brahmabhuta stage for going back to Godhead. However, those who are in Krishna consciousness or who are practicing Bhakti Yoga, Shravana, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, can return to Godhead without even practicing the Muktasana process. So, good for you, right? The purpose of Muktasana practice is to come to the Brahmabhuta stage, for without being on the Brahmabhuta stage, one cannot be promoted to the spiritual sky, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Mam cha yo bhyavacharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. The Bhakti Yoga practicing the Bhakti Yogi practicing Bhakti Yoga is always situated on the Brahmabhuta stage. Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. If a devotee is able to continue on the Brahmabhuta platform, he enters the spiritual sky automatically after death and returns to Godhead. Consequently, a devotee need not feel sorry for not having practiced the Kundalini chakra or not penetrating the 6 chakras one after another. As far as Maharaj Prithu was concerned, he had already practiced this process, and since he did not want to wait for the time when his death would occur naturally, he took advantage of the Sat chakra penetration process and thus gave up the body according to his own free will and immediately entered the spiritual sky. Was it you that was talking last time we were reading this about someone who just gave up their body?
Named salted bread.
Oh, and salted bread. That's right. Yeah. So, so this Muktasana posture is the normal, like, lotus position that you see. Like, if you look in Prabhupada's books, there's the picture of the yogi that looks very old and emaciated and everything. That, and he's sitting in Muktasana posture. So that's the posture. And, I think on the front of the, depending on which book you get, but on the front of the Easy Journey to Other Planets, it shows the yogi sitting like that, and then it shows like a thing shooting out of his head and going into the planets. So that's the idea of astral traveling. All these things are there. They all exist. They're all possibilities. But we can see that the main thing is that we focus on, it says coming to the Brahmabhuta platform, and by practicing Bhakti Yoga. So the Bhakti Yoga, it doesn't give the... it doesn't give the verse for 1426, the translation, but one who kind of attains concentration and meditation on Krishna, that is the Brahmabhuta platform. Now, of course, often devotees, we sit with our japa beads and our japa bags in lotus position, or at least cross-legged on the floor, and try to chant. Those of us who are still able to sit cross-legged on the floor. And try to chant, and that's a sort of asana posture, of course. And sometimes we'll do some mudra. You have this mudra, you have that mudra, like that, 2 fingers, or some do like this, 2 fingers. So there are different mudras which you will help you to kind of focus your mental energy in space. But the whole idea is not just to do that so you get some mystic cities, but the idea is so that we are able to concentrate on the holy name, concentrate on Krishna. And it's very interesting here that Prabhupada is explaining that Prithu Maharaj was already a great yogi, even though he was a great king. He was already a great yogi. He had already practiced all this previously. He was definitely Krishna conscious and already on the Brahma Bhuta platform, but he wanted to expedite his return back to Godhead, and I'm presuming that there's a distinction between doing that and committing suicide, because you might want to expedite your return by just killing yourself, which obviously we don't encourage in any way, shape, or form for many reasons. But it seems like when you're at the space, when you're able to just do that, then you can be like, okay, Krishna, I'm coming. And it's, I guess, presuming, again, that it's not the same as like suicide. So anyway, it's a thought.
You continue?
I think we can do one more.
Okay, text 15. In this way, Prithu Maharaj gradually raised his air of life up to the hole in his skull, whereupon he lost all desire for material existence. Gradually he merged his air of life with the totality of air, his body with the totality of earth, and the fire within his body within the totality of fire. Purport. When the spiritual spark, which is described as 1/10,000th part of the tip of a hair, is forced into material existence, that spark is covered by gross and subtle material elements. The material body is composed of 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and 3 subtle elements: mind, intelligence, and ego. When one attains liberation, he is freed from these material coverings. Indeed, success in yoga involves getting free from these material coverings and entering into spiritual existence. Lord Buddha's teachings of nirvana are based on this principle. Lord Buddha instructed his followers to give up these material coverings by means of meditation and yoga. Lord Buddha did not give any information about the soul, but if one follows his instructions strictly, he will ultimately become free from the material coverings and attain nirvana. Fall off this chair.
And attain nirvana.
Anyway, yeah.
I was thinking, since you're kind of like in that space, that, first the verse is like, immerse air into the totality of air, and earth to earth, and fire to fire. It reminded me of the saying, from ashes to ashes and dust to dust, meaning that when this body dies, it just deteriorates and goes back in. And we were just reading how, in different places Prabhupada said this, but it was in Path of Perfection. We're just reading that Prabhupada was stating that, the body is either going to become earth again, it's going to become ashes, or it's going to become stool. Either it's going to get buried and rot in the ground, or it's going to get burned and be turned into ashes, which in turn it also becomes earth again. Or it's going to be, I think he says, the Parsi people, that they throw the body out in the field. I don't know. I've never seen or heard of such a thing.
Google it.
Well, I don't want to Google that. But anyway, then the vultures come and eat it, and they just pass stool, and then it goes back into the earth that way. So,
Here goes Grandma.
There, Grandma. That's not very nice.
No,
but that isn't Grandma. That's the body, and that's the whole idea that it really brings the stark realization that, oh my God, I am not this body. This body is just going back into the earth. And then Prabhupada mentions about Buddha and Buddhism and nirvana, and often, and I think it was in our readings here that Prabhupada was actually discussing nirvana as a positive thing, that we also achieve nirvana. So van means forest, and nir means like out of or not. So it means not being in the forest of the material energy anymore. And Prabhupada said, if we follow that, even though Lord Buddha didn't really give much on the science of the soul, he just gave more the process of how to get free from material energy. So let's read this next paragraph. When a living entity gives up the material coverings, he remains a spirit soul. The spirit soul must enter into the spiritual sky to merge into the Brahman effulgence. Unfortunately, unless the living entity has information of the spiritual world and the Vaikunthas, there is a 99.9% chance of his falling down again into the material existence. That's pretty powerful. If you don't have knowledge of the spiritual world, I was talking about this last night. I gave a talk and we spoke about japa, and I mentioned how cultivating a relationship with Krishna, because we were saying, when you chant the holy names, Krishna is personally present. And I asked how many people have experienced that. And a few of them raised their hand. And I said, well, that's amazing. God bless you. I said, because most of us, I said, if we met a famous person, if a famous person came into the room, we'd be like, oh my goodness, look, it's him, it's that one, it's her, it's that one. And we'd be like all excited. But when we chant the holy name, we definitely do not feel that excitement. And that's because we're not really relating to the holy name as the person. And also, if we want to relate to the person in a way, like we could be sitting on the train, standing in the queue to get something, standing in line to pick something up, next to a famous person that we don't know, and we're not going to feel any excitement necessarily. We might feel like, well, something, but we don't know why. Only you feel that excitement if you know that that's the person. So we have to get to know Krishna. So here, Prabhupada is saying 99% chance, you're going to fall down again if you don't know. So there is, however, a small chance of being promoted to the spiritual planet from Brahma effulgence or the Brahma Jyoti. The Brahma Jyoti is considered by impersonalists to be without variety, and the Buddhists consider it to be void. In either case, whether one accepts the spiritual sky as being without variety or void, where there is none of the spiritual bliss which is enjoyed in the spiritual planets, the Vaikunthas or Krishna Loka. In the absence of varieties of enjoyment, the spirit soul gradually feels an attraction to enjoy a life of bliss, and not having any information of Krishna Loka or Vaikuntha Loka, he naturally falls down to material activities in order to enjoy material varieties. So we have to know where we're going. We have to understand about it. Jamba karma chame divyam evam yobeti taktutaha. That Krishna says, one who understands the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities in this world, he comes back to be with me. If we don't know, like, what is that famous, who's that guy? Notorious Big something, what was his name? Anyway, it says, if you don't know, you don't know. So if you don't know, you don't know. That's my thoughts. Anything from your side?
No, I think it's felt for the whole world.
Well, if you don't know, you don't know. And I won't say the rest. Thank you very much, everyone. Keep smiling. Have a beautiful day. And read Bhagavatam. It's delightful.